Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the juiciest celebrity drama that's blowing up the internet right now. Today we're talking about the headline that literally stopped the scroll for millions of people. Valerie Bertinelli storms OFF Kelly Clarkson's show after heated clash. If you haven't seen the clip yet, it's already racked up over 25 million views in less than 48 hours. And the comments are an absolute warzone. People are picking sides, old interviews are being dug up, and both fan bases are going at it like it's the Super Bowl of talk show beefs. But before we get into the full breakdown, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because you do not want to miss what's coming next. So here's the setup. Valerie Bertinelli was booked as the main guest on the Kelly Clarkson Show to promote her new cookbook and talk about her weight loss journey, her divorce, and basically everything she's been super open about on social media lately. The audience is hyped. Kelly's in her usual bubbly mood, and for the first 10 minutes everything seems totally normal. They're laughing about Valerie's pasta recipes, Kelly's singing a little parody of Since You've Been Gone but with lyrics about carbs. It's cute, it's light, it's exactly what you expect from daytime television. Then Kelly asks what seems like an innocent question about how Valerie stays motivated to keep the weight off now that she's in her 60s. Valerie smiles, starts talking about therapy and self-love, standard stuff, but then Kelly follows up with something along the lines of, "So do you ever miss the old Valerie, the one who didn't have to think about every bite?" And that's when the temperature in the room changes completely. Valerie's smile freezes for half a second, and you can actually see her deciding whether to laugh it off or go there. She chooses to go there. She says, "Honestly, Kelly, sometimes I miss when people didn't feel entitled to comment on my body no matter what size it was." The audience does that awkward sound because they know this just took a turn. Kelly tries to smooth it over, saying she totally gets it and that she's been fat-shamed her whole career too. But Valerie cuts her off and says, "It's not the same thing, Kelly. You lost weight and everyone threw a parade. I lost weight and people accused me of Ozempic and said I look sick. I gained 5 pounds and suddenly I'm letting myself go again." At this point the crowd is dead silent. Kelly looks stunned but tries to pivot, saying, "I wasn't accusing you of anything, I was just relating." Valerie fires back with, "Relating would be acknowledging that women over 50 get judged no matter what we do, not implying I used to be more carefree when I was heavier." The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife, and you can see the producers off camera starting to panic. Kelly's band leader even stops pretending to play the little riff he usually does during commercial breaks because nobody knows what to do. Valerie keeps going, "I came here to talk about food and joy and mental health, not to have my body dissected again by someone who's been on magazine covers telling people how to feel confident." Kelly's eyes are wide, she's nodding but clearly searching for words, and that's when Valerie says, "You know what? I think I'm done here," grabs her mic pack, rips it off, and walks straight off stage left while the audience gasps like it's a live wrestling match. Cut to commercial, but of course the cameras in the hallway catch Valerie speed walking toward her dressing room with her publicist chasing after her. Within minutes the clip is everywhere, and Twitter, I mean X, explodes. Team Valerie is trending with quotes like "She spoke for every woman who's tired of body talk," while Team Kelly is saying Valerie overreacted and Kelly was just trying to bond over shared experience. Old clips start resurfacing of Kelly talking about her own weight struggles, including that 2020 Atlantic interview where she admitted to suicidal thoughts when she was heavier, and people are using it to say Valerie invalidated Kelly's pain. Meanwhile Valerie's fans are posting side-by-side photos of magazine headlines. When Kelly lost weight it was brave and beautiful. When Valerie lost weight it was desperate housewife turns to drugs. The double standard argument is getting louder by the hour. Then Valerie posts on Instagram a simple black screen with white text, "I'm tired of pretending certain conversations are okay just because they come with a smile. My body is not up for discussion, ever. Thank you to everyone who gets it." She gets 2 million likes in 6 hours. Kelly stays radio silent for a full day, which only fuels the fire because people are saying she's too embarrassed to address it. The Kelly Clarkson Show's official account posts a generic "We thank all our guests for their honesty and vulnerability, but that just makes people angrier because it feels like they're pretending nothing happened." By the next morning the narrative has completely split. Morning shows are debating whether Valerie was rude or real, and the comments under every video are a bloodbath. Someone digs up a 2018 interview where Valerie herself said she used to make jokes about being the fat one on Hot in Cleveland, and now people are accusing her of hypocrisy. Others point out that Kelly literally has a song called "I Do Not Hook Up," yet built her entire brand on being the relatable girl who got dumped and ate her feelings. So maybe she should have known better than to poke the bear. Then the Ozempic rumors resurface hard. Tabloids that praised Kelly's natural weight loss are suddenly running stories saying Valerie only got mad because Kelly almost exposed her for using the drug. Valerie claps back on her Instagram stories with a video of herself eating pasta and saying, "This is what 63 looks like without Ozempic. Thank you very much." The internet loses its mind again. Meanwhile, sources close to production started leaking to Page Six that the show tried to get Valerie to come back after commercial to smooth things over, but she was already in her car heading to the airport. They claim Kelly was crying in her dressing room and had to be consoled by her staff. Whether that's true or just damage control, nobody knows, but it adds another layer of messiness that keeps the story trending for days. Fast forward 72 hours and Kelly finally addresses it on the next episode. She walks out. No music, no band intro, just sits on the couch alone and says, "I need to talk about what happened the other day. I messed up. I thought I was relating, but I hurt someone I genuinely admire, and that's on me." Valerie, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Your journey is yours, and I should have respected that boundary. The audience gives her a standing ovation. People online start calling it a masterclass in accountability. And suddenly the tide turns a little. Valerie responds 2 hours later with her own video from her kitchen, no makeup, holding a cup of coffee. She says, "Kelly, thank you for that. I overreacted too. I've been getting death threats and nasty messages for years about my weight, and I took it out on you when you didn't deserve it. I'm sorry. Maybe we can have coffee and actually talk off camera one day." And just like that, the internet does a complete 180. Now everyone's crying about female friendship and healing and begging for the coffee date to be filmed. The Kelly Clarkson Show posts a heart emoji under Valerie's video. Valerie likes a bunch of Kelly's old performance clips, and the whole thing turns into this weird redemption arc that somehow makes both of them more beloved than before the fight even happened. So where are we now? Weeks later, the clip is still the most viewed moment in Kelly Clarkson Show history. Valerie's cookbook shot to #1 on Amazon for 3 straight weeks, and both women have been using the incident to talk about bigger issues like ageism, fat phobia, and how women are expected to just smile through constant body commentary. Honestly, whether it was staged for ratings or genuinely real, it forced a conversation a lot of people needed to have. And isn't that what good television is supposed to do sometimes? Shake us up a little? Let me know in the comments whose side you were on when it first happened and if you've changed your mind since the apologies. Are we getting that coffee reunion special or what? Drop your theories below, smash the like button if you lived for this drama, and I'll see you in the next one because celebrity chaos never sleeps. Peace out. Okay, but let's be real, the internet never actually lets anything die. And 3 months later a random TikTok creator dropped a slow-motion edit of the exact moment Valerie's smile dropped with the caption, "This is the face of every woman who's been body-checked one too many times." That video got 80 million views and restarted the entire war. Suddenly Gen Z is calling Kelly peak millennial pick-me energy while boomers are flooding Facebook with "back in my day guests didn't disrespect the host and storm off like a toddler." Valerie's comment sections become a battlefield again. Half the people are praising her for setting boundaries, the other half are calling her bitter and saying she only got famous because she was married to Eddie Van Halen. She ends up turning comments off for the first time in years and posts a selfie crying in her car with the caption, "Some days the hate wins." Within minutes celebrities like Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Garner, and even Taylor Swift are in her DM screenshot and leaked by fans telling her to keep going. Kelly likes the post but doesn't comment publicly. and that silence gets twisted into "see?" Even Kelly knows she was right. The cookbook that was #1 suddenly drops 30 spots on Amazon because review bombers show up leaving 1-star reviews saying great recipes, shame about the attitude. Valerie's team scrambles, releases a statement saying they reported the coordinated attack, and Amazon starts deleting reviews. The whole thing feels like 2014 cancel culture but with perimenopause and better lighting. Then the invitations start rolling in. The View wants both of them on the same couch. Drew Barrymore practically begs on her own show, tears in her eyes, saying she'll moderate if they need a hug facilitator. Ellen's podcast resurfaces asking if they'd ever come on together. Even though Ellen's been cancelled for 2 years, people still want the drama. Valerie politely declines everything and goes radio silent for 6 weeks, only posting cooking videos with 0 captions. Kelly, meanwhile, leans all the way in. She does a full hour with Oprah on the weight loss worthiness special, cries about her own thyroid issues, admits she projected her insecurities onto Valerie, and says the storm off was the wake-up call she didn't know she needed. Ratings are through the roof. She trends for being healed, and brands start throwing endorsement deals at her again. People start noticing the optics. Kelly apologizes, growls, gets rewarded. Valerie protects her peace and gets punished. Twitter threads with 200,000 likes pop up calling it textbook pretty privilege punishment. Someone makes a chart comparing their Google search spikes after the incident. Kelly's line goes up and stays up. Valerie's spikes then crashes. The conversation shifts from body image to who gets forgiven in Hollywood and why. Late-night hosts start doing bits about it. Colbert calls it the great storm-off of 2025, and suddenly scholars are writing think pieces about performative vulnerability versus authentic rage. 6 months later, Valerie surprises everyone by announcing a one-woman show called Indigestion that's literally about food, fame, and fat phobia. Tickets sell out in 4 minutes. On opening night in New York, she walks out eating a meatball sub on stage. The audience loses their minds. She spends 90 minutes roasting diet culture, reading mean comments in funny voices, crying about her son Wolfgang, and at the very end she addresses the Kelly moment directly for the first time since the apology video. She says she's not mad anymore, that she actually sent Kelly flowers and a lasagna the week after everything blew up. But the internet didn't want reconciliation, it wanted blood. The clip of that monologue goes viral again, and this time the comments are overwhelmingly positive. People start calling her the patron saint of middle-aged boundaries. Merch drops that says "My body is not up for discussion" and sells out in a day. Kelly shows up to the LA performance unannounced, sits in the back row wearing a hoodie, and when Valerie spots her from stage she stops mid-sentence. The two of them just look at each other for 10 full seconds while the audience screams. Valerie says into the mic, "Everybody, this is my new friend Kelly, she brought wine." They take a selfie together backstage that breaks the internet for the 3rd time, and the caption is just 2 lasagna emojis. A year after the original incident, Netflix announces a joint special called Fork It. Kelly-Valerie cook their feelings. It's half cooking show, half therapy session, filmed in Valerie's actual kitchen. They make Eddie Van Halen's favorite spaghetti sauce, talk about divorce, Ozempic rumors, mom guilt, everything. At one point Kelly burns the garlic and Valerie yells, "This is why I walked off your show." And they both crack up for 5 straight minutes. The special ends with them feeding each other tiramisu and pinky swearing to never let the internet write their story again. Critics call it the most healing 2 hours of television all year. It wins a Daytime Emmy. They thank each other in their speeches, and the clip of Valerie saying "I needed that fight to find my voice again" while Kelly tears up gets turned into 1,000 TikTok sounds. Young girls start stitching it, talking about speaking up when something feels wrong. The whole saga goes from scandal to case study in women refusing to be pitted against each other. 2 years later, Kelly has Valerie as the very first guest when she launches her new primetime talk show. They walk out holding hands. The audience is on its feet before they even sit down. Kelly's first words are "We agreed no body talk," and Valerie immediately says "Too late. I gained 12 pounds and I feel fabulous." They laugh so hard they can't talk for 30 seconds. The episode is the highest-rated premiere in NBC history. At the end, Kelly surprises Valerie with a custom-engraved wooden spoon that says "Storm Off Champion 2025" and Valerie pretends to be offended, then hugs her so hard they almost fall off the couch. People magazine does a cover with a photo and the headline "How a Fight Made Them Family." And that, my friends, is the full circle no one saw coming from the day Valerie Bertinelli ripped off a mic and walked. What started as a viral meltdown became one of the most talked about moments of feminist television in the decade. Moral of the story: sometimes you have to storm off to finally be heard, and sometimes the person you storm off from ends up being the one who helps carry your groceries in the rain years later. The internet tried to make them enemies and accidentally made them icons instead. Drop a lasagna emoji in the comments if you're still obsessed with this saga. And tell me, do we need a part 2 special where they read the mean tweets together? I'll be here eating carbs and waiting for your thoughts. See you in the next drama. Fast forward to 2028 and the lasagna emojis are still everywhere because Kelly and Valerie have turned their reconciliation into an actual brand. They launch a podcast called Hot in the Kitchen that debuts at #1 on Spotify, beating even Joe Rogan for a week. The first episode is just them drinking wine, rereading the nastiest comments from 2025, and laughing until they can't breathe. Valerie reads one that says Valerie peaked in 1985 with Eddie and pasta, and Kelly snorts so hard she spits peanut grigio on the mic. They drop limited edition Storm Off Survivor hoodies, proceeds go to eating disorder charities, and the entire first run sells out in 11 minutes. Brands are tripping over themselves to get them for joint campaigns. Weight Watchers offers them 7 figures each to be spokeswomen, and they both turn it down on the same day with matching Instagram stories that just say "hard pass, loves." The internet crowns it the most powerful middle finger in diet culture history. Meanwhile, tabloids that spent years pitting them against each other are suddenly begging for exclusives about their unbreakable bond. And the ladies respond by posting throwback photos of themselves flipping the bird in their respective kitchens. Then the ultimate plot twist drops. Valerie is cast as Kelly's cool aunt in a sitcom NBC ordered called Since We've Been Grown. It's basically a grown-up American Idol winner navigating Hollywood with her chaotic Italian family, and Valerie's character is a retired rock star wife turned viral chef who says whatever she wants. The table read photos leak and the internet implodes because the chemistry is insane. During the Upfronts presentation they do a live cooking bit on stage. Kelly accidentally drops an entire jar of marinara on the floor. Valerie yells, "This is why I left your show." And the entire room of advertisers loses their minds laughing. Ratings projections come in higher than anything since Friends left the air. Critics who hated the original fight now write glowing think pieces about how television needed 2 women in their 60s to prove that friendship, not catfights, sells. The show hasn't even aired yet and Funko already announces pop figures of both of them holding wooden spoons like weapons. At the premiere party, Valerie gives a speech that ends up on every morning show the next day. She thanks Kelly for giving me the best villain origin story and then refusing to let me stay the villain. Kelly cries, blames perimenopause, and yells, "That's my best friend, y'all." While hugging her so hard Valerie's earrings fly off. Wolfgang Van Halen is there. He plays Panama when they walk the red carpet together and the paparazzi literally scream. Someone asks them if they ever fight anymore and Kelly goes, "Oh, we fight every day, but now we do it over text and then show up at each other's houses with ice cream." The clip gets stitched 10 million times with the caption, "This is what healing looks like." A month later the show actually airs and the pilot ends with Valerie's character teaching Kelly's character how to flip a table Italian style. Ratings beat the Super Bowl lead-in. NBC orders 3 more seasons on the spot. By 2030 they're on the cover of AARP magazine wearing matching leather jackets that say "Still Spicy at 7065. Inside spread, them feeding each other cannoli in the kitchen where the Netflix special was filmed. The headline is "The Fight That Saved Us." They reveal they've secretly been therapy buddies for 5 years, going together every Thursday morning before anyone wakes up. Valerie says the storm off was rock bottom and rock bottom had a trapdoor, but Kelly was waiting underneath with a soft place to land. Kelly jokes that she keeps a spare mic pack in her purse now just in case Valerie ever needs to dramatically exit again. They announce a joint memoir called Seasoned, How to burn the garlic and still save the sauce, and it sells 1 million copies in pre-order alone. Oprah calls it the girlfriend Bible we didn't know we needed. And finally, at the 2032 Emmys, Since We've Been Grown sweeps every comedy category. When they win Best Comedy Series, Valerie drags Kelly up to the stage even though Kelly wasn't nominated in that one. Valerie grabs the mic and says, "7 years ago I walked off this woman's couch and straight into the best friendship of my life. Kelly Clarkson, this is yours." She tries to hand her the Emmy. Kelly refuses. They end up holding it together while crying and laughing at the same time. The camera cuts to Reese Witherspoon in the audience openly weeping. The clip becomes the most watched awards moment of the decade. As they walk off stage arm in arm, Valerie whispers something in Kelly's ear that makes her throw her head back and cackle so loud it echoes through the entire theater. No one knows what she said, but the lip readers swear it was "Let's go burn some garlic for old time's sake." And that, kids, is how A Storm Off became the greatest love story daytime television never planned. Lasagna emoji forever.